This podcast is sponsored by Sand Dollar Analytics and is brought to you by Sand Dollar Business Solutions. Hi, I'm Eden Mary Gator, and this episode is an introductory to the concept I suggested about the Bahamas establishing its very own AquaMarine economy. I wanted to address this first before moving on to any other topics because a lot of people have been asking me about this. Some have even suggested a turquoise or a teal economy. So at this point, I just want to give an outline on what my concept is for an aquamarine economy. And I want to share why I came up with this concept. So for those of you who don't know, in the second episode of this podcast, I talked about how we arrived at a national discussion about the 6 major economies that we need to develop in the Bahamas. We hear the terms blue, green, and orange economies, but most of us, we don't know the full reason for why these economies are being mentioned. And many of us don't know what other economies are important for the Bahamas. So a few episodes back, I talked about the origins of how all of that came about. And I suggested that Bahamians also create our own new economy that could be unique to the Bahamas. And that economy could be known globally as the world's first aquamarine economy. And the more I thought about it, the more I've come to believe that an aquamarine economy could really be the main platform for which the Bahamas can demonstrate everything that's unique to us, and we can really take ownership of who we are, and we can also recognize and generate all the potential wealth that we have and really use it to add value to ourselves. So my vision for an aquamarine economy is where we blend all the major economic models that are relevant for current and future development of the Bahamas, and we blend them to focus on our strengths in the blue and green economies, hence the aquamarine economy. But what does that mean exactly? Well, here's something to think about. I mean, we know that Dorian was a huge direct hit to us fiscally, but with COVID, well, we didn't realize it at the time, but a year plus ago, when we locked our doors against the arrival of COVID-19, we actually stepped into a time machine that accelerated the future forward. And it's been stated before that the Bahamas is both technologically and developmentally 10 years behind. And now COVID has actually accelerated the future, where it's now accelerating at a year's rate every single month. So at this point, we can't keep using rhetoric about the different economies that we want to diversify into. And we can't keep talking about the blue, the green, the orange, the digital, the knowledge, and the conceptual economies as if these are just buzzwords. So what I'm suggesting with an aquamarine economy is for us to create our own table that can accelerate us and leapfrog us in our development. And I mean, the world has been at their own table already, and they've left us behind. So what I'm proposing is for us to build a table for ourselves, for which we can then invite the world to come and sit at our table. And right now, the major focus of the world is on climate change and global warming. And this is serious because, unlike other global issues, we're actually vulnerable in a way where we're actually facing an existential threat from these two issues. And that's a threat to our very existence. So this is what the world is looking at, especially because it requires immediate action to counteract all the harmful effect that we've had on the environment. And so the world is really dedicated to this. And already we're seeing that The world is starting to implement strategies for greener cities and smarter cities that adopt green principles. So all the major economies that we talk about, like the orange and the digital and the knowledge and conceptual, all of these the world is developing, but they're doing so with emphasis on the green and blue economies because these promote smarter sustainability. And that's exactly what we need to address the environmental crisis that we're in. So the world is fixated on the blue and green economies as solution to climate change and global warming. And it just so happens these are our very strengths. The Bahamas has natural extraordinary potential in both the blue and green economic models. And we can actually blend these, the blue and the green, hence the AquaMarine economy. So the AquaMarine economy could integrate all relevant economic models with a focus on our strengths in the blue and green economies. And I hope that's better explained, because the point I'm making is, as the world seeks to develop all economic models with a focus on the green and the blue, we can be the very ones to lead the way. And I say that because, for one, I like to use this analogy where the major economies of the world are like one of those huge tanker ships. And whenever those ships need to change direction or just turn around, it takes a super long time just for them to turn this huge ship and change direction. But for the Bahamas is more like a speedboat. And a speedboat can turn around almost immediately. So we can change direction far more quickly than most countries can. I mean, our population is only approximately 400,000, whereas it's not so easy for most countries because they have millions of people whose lives they have to consider when making any economic adjustment. So we definitely have an advantage here, but add to that our uniqueness in the green economy with our natural resources, and our uniqueness in the blue because of our waters and the wealth of our reefs and fisheries, which, by the way, the aquamarine is also representative of our waters. It's the actual color of our waters. And you might think that trees are the best when it comes to absorbing carbon dioxide, but our oceans actually absorb way more carbon dioxide than trees do. And as we know, carbon emissions are a leading cause when it comes to climate change and global warming. But even when we talk about our natural resources, and aragonite being one of them, is a resource that we love to talk about exporting. But aragonite is actually one of the major offsetters to climate change, and that's due to its chemical structure. But also, aragonite is ideal for shoring up our land against rising sea levels. So instead of exporting our aragonite, we should actually be using it for ourselves. And you may wonder, well, if we don't export it, well, how do we still make money from our aragonite? Well, we can simply use our aragonite to work in combination with our oceans and with our other blue and green economic natural resources. And we can use these to offset huge amounts of carbon emissions. And our potential to do that could have us generate billions of dollars in carbon credits. And generating revenue this way is a much better and smarter alternative to just selling off our aragonite, especially when we actually need it for ourselves against climate change and rising sea tides. So an aquamarine economy could have us focus on our unique strengths in the green and the blue economies. And the great thing about it is, well, it's often asked, how do we even start to begin to enter into all of these different economies, like the knowledge and conceptual economies and the digital, along with the blue, green, and orange economies? Well, the thing is, if we build on our natural strengths in the blue and green economic models, we can easily transition into the other economic models, because As we harness our strengths in the blue and green economies, the world will look to us for knowledge because essentially we'll be creating new knowledge. And that has to do with both the knowledge and the conceptual economies. It's part of the conceptual economy because we'll be creating new knowledge, and the conceptual has to do with new ideas and new knowledge and innovation. But it becomes part of the knowledge economy because the world will seek to know the application of that knowledge that we'll be creating. And the digital aspect is in how we become data centric and use technology to apply the knowledge that we have. So that's the digital economy. And for the orange economy, well, the orange is not just about creative arts and media and fashion, but it also has to do with culture and heritage and artistic cultural expression. So consider that the world will already be watching us as we work to lead the way in the blue and green economies. But with the orange economy, we can invite the world to experience who we are through a rich, immersive hospitality experience that highlights our culture and heritage and everything Bahamian. And this will create another aspect to an AquaMarine brand for the Bahamas, because not only will it be a brand that can be observed by the world with our strengths in the blue and green economies, but it can be something that the world can come to experience as well through hospitality. And the Bahamas is already really good at a subset of the hospitality industry known as tourism. So it's really easy for us to diversify into the hospitality industry. And the hospitality industry is something that we have yet to fully explore. And that's actually where the most value is for tourism. Because tourism is simply what people do. It's the things that people do. It's the activities, events, attractions, and services that we provide. But hospitality is what people come to experience. People come to the Bahamas to experience something that they can't get anywhere else. So the Bahamas should not be a place that you can simply just drive by and see a few things and leave. The Bahamas should be a place that you come to fully experience. So while people can admire the AquaMarine brand of the Bahamas, they can also come to experience it and experience who we are through the hospitality the hospitality industry. And I just want to say that yes, we can build out this incredible AquaMarine brand, but if we don't actually take control of it, then we'll just be building out all these different economies, and we'll be creating this extraordinary brand for foreigners to just come in and own. So the most distinctive quality of an AquaMarine economy is where it's based on ownership. And to really establish ownership for Bahamians, a major instrument for an AquaMarine economy will be a financial instrument known as a sovereign wealth fund. And a sovereign wealth fund will work to reacquire and transfer all known and unknown and all seen and unseen and all tangible and intangible assets. And it will transfer these into sovereign trust to be owned by the Bahamian people as a collective. And I'll do another episode just talking about how that works. But a sovereign wealth fund will allow all Bahamians to start from a place of ownership as we seek to develop and diversify into all the different economic models. And it will allow for us to build an inclusive and equitable society. And it will even seek to eliminate all forms of poverty in the Bahamas. So essentially, the AquaMarine economy will be a brand that we can own, not just in name, but it's a brand that we can own in action as well. And it's also something that can become very, very personal to us, personal in a way that can be expressed throughout our everyday lives. And when I say it can become personal to us, what I mean is Well, um, when we think about it, millions of people come from all over the world just to vacation here in the Bahamas. And on the other hand, we have Bahamians who actually want to vacation away from the Bahamas. And and so I wonder, why is it that the world seeks to vacation here and come here and work here to research and discover treasures of the Bahamas that we ourselves don't even know about? Most of us don't even know that our blue holes actually contain history of the entire world. So it's almost like the world knows who we are, but we have yet to discover that for ourselves. And with an aquamarine economy, as we work to present who we are, we can really begin the process to learn more about ourselves. And I mean, there's just so much to be explored. That's why instead of exporting our natural resources, we should be using it to add value to ourselves. And and we should be creating a Bahamas that we don't have to vacation from. I mean, why create a Bahamas for someone else? Let's just create the Bahamas that we want to experience right now for ourselves. Let's create a Bahamas that we don't have to vacation from. People come here to vacation. And through the hospitality industry model, we can invite people to experience what we're already experiencing for ourselves. It's just giving people a true Bahamian experience. And that includes an experience of both our cultural heritage and an experience of how we thrive in the Bahamas today. And we can start to do that now. And overall, as we harness our strengths in the blue and green economies to create an ideal Bahamas for ourselves, we can become the model for the world to follow. So this is how I perceive an aquamarine economy. It's about creating our own table that will accelerate our developmental timeline. It's about creating a real Bahamian experience that reflects who we are. And it's about taking ownership and leading the way in the green and blue economies. So this is what I'm proposing. And I want to come back and talk more about this because this is just a preliminary outlook on some of the qualities I think an aquamarine economy can possess. And although I see how it can become feasible, I still want to study more about exactly how it can be implemented for the Bahamas. So I'll do other episodes talking more in detail on how to do that. But overall, as I stated before at the beginning of this episode, my concept of an aquamarine economy is where we blend all major economic models that are relevant for our current and future development, and we blend them with a focus on our strengths in the green and blue economies. And I'll add to that, we'll be doing so with the conceptual economy leading the way, because with the aquamarine economy, we'll be first and foremost conceptualizing the way forward in the green and blue environment. And I actually believe that the aquamarine concept is actually a platform that we can use to really focus our efforts as we seek to diversify into all economic models. And we can use it to develop all aspects of the Bahamas. I mean, economic, social, cultural. It all fits into an aquamarine model. And this is something that can be unique to the Bahamas, especially as a global, impactful brand. And I just want to say, I chose the color aquamarine for this economy and not teal or turquoise or just aqua because, I think for obvious reasons, aquamarine is a color that's more representative to the Bahamas. It's the actual color of our waters. It's represented in our flag. In fact, for those of you who don't know or who may have forgotten, the flag colors represent the strength of the Bahamas, and the gold represents our golden sun and the wealth of our natural resources. The black represents the strength of the Bahamian people, and the aquamarine that's present at both the top and at the bottom of the flag, it symbolizes the water that surrounds the Bahamas, which, by the way, the Bahamas is actually made up of more ocean than it is made up of landmass. So I guess you could say that all of the symbolism can be captured within an aquamarine economy, because there's the wealth of our natural resources, and there's our ocean and the strength of our people. But also the aquamarine color best represents and best embodies the two combination of the blue and green economies that we have our unique strengths in. I mean, you have aqua, which is the blue economy, and then you have marine, which is the green economy. And when you put them together, it becomes aquamarine. So I think when creating a new economy that's truly unique to the Bahamas, it's more clearly expressed through calling it an aquamarine economy. But overall, I hope you were able to fully understand what my concept is for an aquamarine economy, especially with the emphasis on ownership and creating a true Bahamian experience, and having the Bahamas lead the way as the world transitions into a more sustainable environment through the blue and green economies. So if you do get the concept, please let me know. And if you have any suggestions, comment your thoughts. Also, don't forget to like and share this podcast. And again, this podcast is sponsored by Sand Dollar Business Solutions. You can go to sanddollarbusinesssolutions.com for a free business evaluation. All you have to do is book an appointment. Also, you can go to EdenMaryGator.com for all of my social media if you haven't already. And I look forward to hearing from you. So until next time, I'm Eden Mary, and thanks for listening.